Now I will hand the floor over to Eileen and let her take it away. Thank you, Eileen, for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Chris, and hello, Salem. I miss seeing you in person. But it's true, we will be able to gather again soon. Every time I'm at one of these events, I have to say, I'm so reminded that, and I know Senator Lovely believes this as well, and as Senator Dowan just said, we as electeds could not do what we do without you and without your support and without these meetings to speak to us. So thank you for being advocates, not just for the Democratic Party, but for the citizens of the Commonwealth in general. I do want to share that today was actually, and it still is for 20 more minutes, a municipal election up in Dunstable, which is one of my 38 cities and towns. And I was, one of the Democratic candidates reached out to me yesterday in a complete panic because the Trumpers up there have decided to run a couple of write-ins against two Democrats who didn't think they had any opposition. Now, this might not sound like a lot, but when you only have 400 voters in a town, you can really lose an election like that. And you know, I got right on it, and we've been rallying people and getting up there and literally having to get signs printed in record time and stuff for folks. And one of them said to me, you know, I'm so sorry, this really doesn't matter that much. And I stopped her and I said, you know what, you're wrong. It matters a lot, because these school committee seats, which you're fighting for, matter, and they matter to the party, and they matter to all of us. And these elections are the exact reason why Trump was able to come to power, because people don't pay attention and they say, oh, it's not valuable, it doesn't matter. And people, they move up and they get a platform. And so I guess I'm just giving a shout out to everybody that runs for any seat on any level. It matters, and we know it matters. I know it matters. And if it means that I come out to, you know, some town that's far away, I'm happy to come and hold a sign for you, because I think it is that important that we support each other as Democrats. We have a president again. We have a real president, and there's a lot of work to do, and he can't do it alone. And so these other races, these municipal elections, these governor's council races, these state senate and state rep races, and city council races and mayoral races, these are all really, really important races. And one of the things I want to talk about, because I talk about, and I guess Ben kind of inspired me with this, you know, I talk a lot about the criminal justice system, and I think you all, and I'll answer any questions about it. You all know how I feel about it, and how it can be better and work better. And I've been writing a bit. I just had a piece published in the Globe a little while ago. I'm expecting to have another piece much flushed out, a lot more coming out soon, that I'd love to share with you. But something we don't talk enough about, and I feel very strongly about this, part of it is my background. I have a master's in organizational development, but we don't talk enough about good government and how government can be good and how government can work for you, and how many of us in government take our jobs and our jobs of accountability very, very seriously. And it's not, you know, just, it's not a joke, and it's not just a punching bag at times. We need people to commit to work very, very hard. And we need to really look deep and hard at what our best practices are, and to be brave and to be bold and to be able to get along with people, to be really honest, because you were so lucky to have Senator Lovely. I mean, Senator Lovely and I came to office at the same time. The one thing I can tell you a lot of great things about Joan Lovely, but one thing I'm going to tell you about her is that people get along with her and they like her, even when they don't agree with her. They'll listen to her because she has a good way of working with people, and she's a good relationship with them. And in good government, for government to work well, you need those relationships. And even to Marcia's point, how do we do this? You know, we have to get better, and we all want to, at working together in being better, in really examining, you know, how do we do this and what are our best practices? And so this is something that I'm going to be talking a lot more about, because I'm really, in my own work, I'm doing some real deep dives into it, because I just see us at a turning point right now, in the country, but also in the Commonwealth. We do have a chance to take the governor's office back. And Charlie Baker seems to be Teflon like nothing I have ever seen again, ever in my entire life. And I spent a lot of time in DC. I've never seen anything like this. But for me, I don't want to just whack him. I want to show the differences between he and us, and his party and our party. And I think whether it's Ben or it's another person who's at the top of the ticket, we must commit to work diligently and so hard, in perhaps in a way we haven't in years and years and years, to take that office back and to have a very strong ticket of progressives at the top of all the constitutional offices in this state, because we are at such a critical time in history, not just in the country, but in our own state. And the leadership right now going forward is going to matter in a way that we cannot yet imagine. We know that Roe v. Wade is under attack right now in the Supreme Court. We also know that Charlie Baker is not a strong supporter of that, which he has proven to us in the last year. He is a man who believes in privatizing things and privatizing the vaccination process, when there was already a plan in place to roll out a vaccination process using state resources. And instead he outsourced it to the tune of millions and millions of taxpayer dollars, to a very inefficient way of doing it. You know, they did get the bumps out, but it took a terribly long time to do it. We had a horrible website, but the best websites for the vaccine were all from Massachusetts companies. We outsourced to a company that didn't even work in our state. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me that the governor would do this. But this is not good government. This is not best practices. This is not transparency and accountability. This is privatizing things. And, you know, there can be public-private partnerships that can work really well, but we haven't seen that or much of that out of this administration. You know, we need to continue to fund good public programs, public schools, public health, and public transportation. And I'll talk to anybody about that all day long, because Massachusetts, because of our geographic size and because of our mass of wealth, not just the knowledge economy, but the blue collar working economy, we are positioned perhaps better than any other state in the whole country to take the lead again, if we can have a real high-speed, high-tech transportation system in this Commonwealth. There is not a shortage of housing. I'm a realtor, and I'm going to tell you, there may not be houses around here, but there are out in Pittsfield, and there are out in other parts of the state. If folks could get on a high-speed rail and get to work, they could afford to live in those communities. And one of the things I find frustrating about Governor Baker is I've talked to him over and over and over about public transportation, and I try to drill down to him that it is not about making money. Public transportation is not about making money. It's about moving people. And when we can effectively move people, the ROI, return on investment, will come. And we know this because we have empirical evidence to show us this over and over and over. Senator Lovely has been working with Tom Walsh, the state representative over in Peabody, for a project that I have been pushing since I got elected that has nothing to do with the Governor's Council, but does have to do, and they've done terrific, heroic work on this, of connecting downtown Peabody to the Salem train station. And if it's the last thing I do when I'm an elected official, I will make sure that project goes through, because it can happen, it's possible, and it won't cost a lot of money. And it isn't about the cost. I mean, we don't want to waste money, but the money will come back to us in return if we can get people moving, if we can get people working, if we can get people spending money in restaurants and shops and things like that. So that's what I have to say today. It's a little bit different than what I usually talk about, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions on any subject. So thank you.
Thank you, Eileen. Let's see, I'm going to see, are there any questions? I see James, first one with his hand up.
Oh, hi. Hi, James. Can you hear me?
Hi, Eileen. Sorry, it took me a second to unmute.
Oh, no problem. How are you? Good to
I'm
see
good.
you.
Long time no see in person.
Yeah.
Have a relatively quick question here.
Yeah.
I saw your column in Mass Lawyers Weekly about clemency.
Oh, good.
I was wondering if there's any perhaps progress with Governor Baker investigating that issue and at least giving it some thought.
Well, I can tell you that I have been speaking about it weekly, and I will be actually going down to Norfolk State Prison next week to visit with the one petitioner who they've heard his case, to meet with him and hear a little bit about it in more detail. Clemency and pardons are really, really important for people. Because it doesn't just give them an opportunity, to it gives them an opportunity to work, to be frank. It gives them an opportunity to be committed, full-fledged citizens of the Commonwealth and really participate in the system, and to be taxpayers, and to get back integrated as best they can. And frankly, today with Google and everything else, that makes it hard. If you've ever done anything wrong, that can make it very challenging for you. But if you've done any time in jail and prison, it can be really debilitating. And I'm very passionate about this issue, James. And I had a conversation with a prisoner years ago, and he said something to me, and it's never left me. And what he said to me was, when does the punishment stop? When does the punishment stop? I made a mistake. I was 18. I went to prison. I didn't go to jail. I went to prison. I got a GED. I got a degree. I got out, and I still couldn't get a job. Honors, everything. In this, we just hear the story over and over and over and over, and it's a horrible, horrible story. And so one of the ways that we can do better is by helping people who are deserving to, commute their sentences, or give them clemency, give them pardons, and get them back into society, working and contributing, so they're whole again, and it helps our society become whole again too. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
See James shaking his head in agreement that did answer the question.
Thank you, Eileen, for everything you do.
Oh, my pleasure.
I see Senator Lovely is next with her hand up.
Oh, my friend.
Thank you, Chris. I just want to say I'm just a huge fan of Councilor Duff, and how hard she works across her entire district, a huge district, and tirelessly crisscrossing it, not just during election season, but for another election up in Dunstable.
Yeah, we're in Dunstable today.
Just amazing. And you know what? I'm so glad you brought up that relationships matter, because relationships matter in everything we do.
Yeah.
Not just working it matters in state government. It matters in this forum with all of us. It matters whatever we do, how we conduct ourselves. And thank you for raising that, because that's one thing that I think of every single day when when I do conduct myself, that relationships matter, that the work that we do matters so deeply, and to bring respect to that work. So thank you for raising that. And you know what? You're just not a champion in the Governor's Council. with challenging, whatever nominees are coming before you. I mean, you ask all the questions, and some of the tough questions, to make sure that these are the right appointees when we are filling, judges and magistrates. But also, you challenge Governor Baker on, like you said, transportation, housing, all these issues that matter so deeply. And you actually have a unique position that you interface with him
Yeah.
more than most. And you use that opportunity to challenge these very important issues. And I couldn't be more grateful. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Senator, because honestly, the relationship, I became very close to Governor Patrick. And so Governor Baker was a very big change for me on a whole lot of levels. And I had to work hard on my relationship with him. I said to somebody, it was like dating somebody new. I mean, it was a really weird thing. I had to work very, very hard. And I had been very vocally critical of him online and on Twitter. And it really, it was told to me by many people on both sides of the aisle, he was very upset about it. And so I had to go in and build that trust again. And thank you for saying it, because it's the one thing, you have, we as electeds, and just as people, members of this committee, we have to hold ourselves accountable too. And we have to constantly, do our own check-ins. It's even like when Marsha was talking about diversity and everything, we all try to be as open-minded and everything as we can be, but we do always have to do our own self-assessments and check-ins. And when we're not perfect, but we do strive to come from contribution and do the best we can. So, but you're a great partner to work with. And thank you for saying that, because I'll never forget when I dragged poor Deval Patrick down to Peabody Square to look at those train tracks.
That's right. And we're going to get that together.
And you know what? I for some reason, I'm like a dog with a bone when it comes to this public transportation thing. I just can't let it go. And so because I do have a unique position where, they probably think, oh God, what's she going to say now? But I don't bother them. I only talk to them. That's the reason they listen to me, to be frank, is because I don't waste their time. So anyway, thank you.
Nicely done. Thank you.
Any other questions for Eileen at the moment? I am not seeing any raised hands.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you so much, Eileen, for joining us. It was really great to hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And, like I said, get off your duff and vote. And even if we know, or you see somebody in one of the other city or town committees, even if it's not in our area, and even if you can't get out there, give them a boost on Facebook and everything, because it takes a lot for somebody to run. And for these two young folks that were running for school committee, and they were just so thrown because they didn't think they had opposition. They were so upset by it. And, I said, we got you. Don't worry about it. So I'm waiting. Polls close in 3 minutes. We'll see what happens. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Eileen.
Okay.
Welcome. All right, so we will now move